If your wrist sounds like popcorn in the microwave when you make even the subtlest of movements, you might want to listen up. Let's go over the most common reasons why a wrist can pop. First, let me ease your mind. The most common reason a wrist pops is just something called cavitation. Your wrist and any joint in your body has what's called synovial fluid, and that is just lubricant for your cartilage. That's a fluid that helps that cartilage glide back and forth smoothly and across your bones. And then as you move your wrist forward or backwards suddenly, or you stretch it quickly or pull on it quickly, that causes a pressure change, which can create a gas bubble, which can go pop. Just like when you open the can of a soda can and you hear the pop. It's a quick change in pressure. Same thing with the wrist. Now, a more sinister reason why something could pop would be if it's in this area right here, over the head of your ulna, that prominent little circle there. If you feel something shifting side to side or popping back and forth and it's a little painful, that's your extensor carpi ulnaris tendon, your ECU tendon for short. That's one of the most common tendons to injure in the wrist, and it's often due to falling or repetitive loading injury or twisting or turning too forcefully. And if that is popping, then you might need an ECU repair, or they may have to go in there and do a little arthroscopic cleanup of your ECU tendon. That is no bueno, so you might want to get that checked out. Typically, though, it's either cavitation or it's just your tendons that act as string, and they're just kind of popping across some bones in there, some other tendons. You've got more than 20 tendons, counting the front and the back side, that cross into the hand. So that's a lot of tendons, folks. And they've got to go somewhere. They don't have much space. So as you're moving, if they're slightly popping around, it could just be they're slightly jerking through some scar tissue or shifting over a bone. You got 8 little carpal bones in your wrist. They kind of look like little pebbles. They're irregularly shaped, and they can cause a little bit of popping. So nothing to worry about there. Another reason something can pop that would be a problem would be if your cartilage is worn out. Then your wrists might feel more crunchy, or like there's a machine gun going off in your wrist every time you move. Pop, 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 crunch, 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 crunch. Or if it is accompanied with pain, then you might have to have what's called a proximal row carpectomy, where they remove the proximal row of your wrist, or they might have to go in there and do a cleanup job and just remove bone spurs, that kind of thing. Now, if you're having some popping that then leads to numbness or tingling, that could also be a problem because that could be a nerve dislocating. But in general, it's usually just cavitation or some tiny little not that important tendons kind of popping around in there. Nothing usually to worry about. Have a nice day.